Good morning everybody, and welcome to today's golf drills in the garden. I hope you all enjoyed your Easter weekend, and well done to Rob Gumbrell, who shot a fantastic gross 69 in the virtual medal yesterday. So well done, Rob. So today I'd like to talk about a problem which lots of people suffer from, and that is that even if they've managed to make a well sequenced, really powerfully coiled backswing position, they still lose power in the downswing and cause a loss of strike because of casting. Now, casting is when you lose the angle of your wrist hinge too early in the downswing, and the club head in effect is thrown out away from you. So now there's no power or speed left in the hands and arms, and you can only hit the ball with the speed that your body is turning through. Whereas if your wrists remain hinged in the first half of the downswing, you've now got all this power stored up, ready to get maximum unleashing and maximum whoosh and club head speed through the ball. And that's going to help you to get the hands leading the club head into the ball, to get a ball bend divot strike, as well as achieving the maximum speed right where it matters at the moment of impact. So let's look at 2 or 3 different things that can cause casting, and drills that you can do to help you to store up that power in the downswing so that you get your maximum club head speed right where it matters at the impact. So the first one is one we've already talked about a lot, and that is that once you've already made a well sequenced and well coiled backswing position, to make sure that you start the downswing from those ankles, your feet and ankles driving, initiating the unwind from the legs. Because if your legs are static, you see lots and lots of beginner golfers who look like this. Very, very flat-footed, and because they're not using their legs, their shoulders dominate, and the shoulders throw the club head at the ball from the top of the backswing, losing those angles, and you can see how that causes the hit of the ground before the centre of the stance, and you get heavy shots and missed strikes. So using the legs, that's the first key thing. The second thing, now we can look at both arms and see what's going on from the top of the backswing here. And one of the very simple feelings that you could have is to feel that the right angle that you've got between your left arm and club is maintained by what they used to call in the old coaching books pulling the loo chain. And that's the feeling of the butt end of the club being pulled down by the back 3 fingers of the left hand. So feeling some firmness, enough firmness here that the left hand can pull the butt end down, and make sure it's still the ankle starting the unwind, helping you to pull that butt end down at the ground there. Now, one of the other ways that helps you to feel this more strongly is if you've managed to keep your left arm extended in the backswing and you've got a nice powerful right angle, then it's easier to feel that firmness and feel the ankle and the left hand working together. If your left arm tends to have collapsed a little bit, then quite often the re-straightening of the arm can tend to cause a throwing action of the club head. So feeling that extension and then pulling the loo chain. And that's probably the simplest feeling that you can have to keep this power stored up at the start of the downswing. Now let's look at the right arm. This is a little bit trickier. When you get to the top of the backswing, if I take the left arm away, the right arm is in this position where the elbow tends to be folded, the right shoulder's behind you because you've fully coiled, and most people who play golf this way around are right-handed, and the instinct is for the right shoulder and the right upper arm to want to hit out at the ball, to create, that's where all your natural power is, and that hitting out, you can see, tends to throw the club head away from you and cause that casting action. So sometimes people are aware of that, so then they try and keep the angle here locked in, but then they end up with something that looks like this, where they don't release it at all. They get very tense in here, they're trying to stop it casting, and now they struggle to reach the ground, and quite often people like this hit into out blocks because they're not getting the club down into the back of the ball, and they're causing a very inside swing path. So let's look at this more carefully, okay? When you get to the top of the backswing here, if you've correctly kept the heel of your right thumb squeezed onto the middle knuckle of your left thumb as you hinge your wrists, you end up with a right hand that's very much pointing down the shaft towards the club head. In other words, there's a right angle in the back of your right wrist. If you're gripping it poorly, your right hand will look like this. Now there's no power loaded into it anyway because there's no angle in the back of your right wrist, and you can see your finger and thumb are very much at right angles to the club. So first of all, you're making sure with your decent grip and grip pressure that if your hand stays correct, look at the angle of my hand and thumb. I've got a right angle there, but I've also got a second right angle in my elbow. So this is a great drill that you can do. Look, you swing to the top of the backswing, take your left arm off, and then in slow motion, you're going to extend the right arm down to lose the angle in the elbow, but look how I've maintained the angle in the back of my right wrist. So most people tend to either keep both or release both, but to actually feel that this is extending while this is being maintained means you've got to be very relaxed in your right shoulder and right tricep, because if they're tense, the elbow stays locked, so they've got to be really relaxed to allow the arm to extend down, but the fingers and forearm are working hard to keep this angle stored up in the back of the right wrist. And all this drill is really teaching you to do is to work certain muscles and relax certain muscles. You're learning to relax the right shoulder and the right upper arm to let the arm extend down freely, but you're learning to work your fingers and forearms in such a way as to retain this angle. And once you've done that a few days, you start to get the feel of it. You'll feel the shaft dropping into different positions. It'll feel a bit strange at first, but it's just training the correct muscles. It's not something you can think about when you're hitting balls. It's too far remotely away from attacking the ball. But then when you then simply start to pull down from the left hand here, if the correct muscles in the right arm are relaxed, it allows the arms to extend down freely while storing up the power in the wrists and forearms. And from there on, the thing you did from day one, which is to unwind from those legs to a powerfully balanced finish, just allows that centrifugal force to just unleash the club through in a very natural throwing action. So this is just a trained move of storing up power in your wrists and forearms at the start of the downswing as your legs are unwinding. So give it a go. Feel the pulling of the loo chain with the ankles unwinding. Feel the extension of the right arm down without losing the angle in the back of the right wrist. See how it feels, and come back to me with any questions. Enjoy your days practicing.